Shemel Shah. Yahweh Shemel Shah. Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. When they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, The king is become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Bel. He hath slain the dragon, and put the priests to death. So they came to the king, and said, Deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee in thine house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel unto them, and cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which then were not given to them, to the intent they might devour Daniel. Now there was in Judah a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage, and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field, for to bring it to the reaper. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown, and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God hath sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered, O God, neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat. And the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Upon the 7th day the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then cried the king with a loud voice, saying, Great art, Lord God of Daniel, and there is none other beside thee. And he drew him out, and cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den. And they were devoured in a moment before his face.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh.
Therefore thus saith the Lord God, Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully out there pushing the word in truth and in sincerity across the 4 winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, so what I want to get into today, all right, is a news and prophecy. The big scam, continues. All right, and as we've been, the spirit, has been pushing brothers, to just continually repeat how everything is a big scam in this society. Okay, from top to bottom. Okay, and the presidential office is no difference. Okay, it's nothing but a big scam. All right, and this guy, whom you think you people have elected, okay, is set up, all right, to deceive and to scam. Okay, and the masses have no idea, of what's happening to them by these executive orders. Okay, while they're cheering, that he made an executive order identifying 2 genders, male and female. Okay, they're jumping up and down as if they have some victory Well, those other, 120 executive orders is working against you people. Okay. And we're seeing America being dismantled from the inside out because of the president is nothing but a do boy, all right, for these tech companies, all right, and these major corporations. And these major corporations, all right, answer to the elite banking families, okay, who finance this whole system, all right. So, what we're seeing with this man's presidency is America getting ready to be brought down low, okay. And we'll start here with this prophecy in Isaiah 47:1, and then I got a few videos. I got a few videos to get into. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters are edified. Now, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, verse 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate," man. Okay, and the virgin daughter of Babylon is America. All right, and America, is likened into a virgin because this place has been untouched as an empire. The wars that has happened since America's conception have been wars abroad. Okay, and the only war that took place here was a civil war between American citizens, man. But there's no foreign government that has touched America. Okay, so America is likened to the virgin daughter of Babylon. She's been untouched. She's been put up. Okay, but then it says, "Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Yeah, so we're finna see America take a great demotion in the earth before it's destroyed. Okay, so before America is destroyed, it's going to take a great demotion on the world stage. Okay, and there's people have enjoyed the luxury of living in the world superpower. Okay, all the perks that come with and the safety and security, and the convenience that comes with living in the world superpower. People are finna go through the suffering, okay, from living in a society that's hyper impoverishment, okay, because just as America has impoverished nations throughout the earth, well, that poverty is coming to America, man. Okay, and all in the attempt to bring people to their knees to accept, all right, this NWO, this New World Order, via the CHIP. Okay, so let's get this video, and he's going to go into a little bit of American history too. So we'll go through that in prophecy, and then we'll bring it up to speed to what's going on now. Okay, now this is my guy Richard Wolff, all right, who's pretty much an economist, and he has a hard stand against Trump and everything he's doing. So this whole thing, Trump made a statement that the decline of America is over, all right, but people that's in the know of how things really work when it comes to economy, foreign policy, geopolitics, and what this man is doing via executive orders, okay, they call him out. Okay, and they go into the real of what's happening and what it means for the American people going forward. Okay, so let's play this, all right, and we'll skip through a little bit of it. I think I got two more to go into, and Lord will, you brothers are edified. So let's play this.
And not about the reality. So let me get to answer your question. What is the decline of the United States, and why what Mr. Trump is talking about is not that, and why what he's proposing is no solution to that? The decline has to do with something you might even call natural. And by that I mean every empire that the world has known, from ancient Greece, Rome, right on to the modern one, and indeed the one that gave birth to the United States, namely the British Empire, of which the United States was once a minor colony. Never as important to Britain as India was, never as important to Britain as much of Africa, particularly in the north, was, but an important part that it fought a war to keep, the Revolutionary War of the 18th century. Okay, the United States inherited the empire from the British. By the end of the 19th century, and certainly by the time of World War I in the 20th century, Britain's empire was in decline and the American empire was rising to replace it. And the rise of the American empire went across the entirety of the 20th century.
All right, so let's go into a little history. All right, dealing with prophecy, show you, okay, how prophecy is spot on. You know, as he talk about America springing up, okay, out of the British. Okay, now we know, all right, that this whole system. All right, let's go here to Daniel the 7th chapter. You know, because he's speaking about America as being that little horn, and we have to understand that we're in the era, okay, of that little horn spoken of in Daniel, which is a spinoff of the Roman Empire, okay, of old. You see, so when you go here to the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7, it says this is Daniel seeing different empires that will come and fall. You know, and as he spoke, you know, before, you know, he went into the Greeks and the Romans, how they came and fell. Well, Daniel seen the rise and fall of empires, beginning with the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian, the Medo-Persian, all right, and the Greeks, the Romans. Okay, Daniel seen the vision of the rise and fall of these empires. Okay, so you make it to the 7th chapter, and the 7th verse, you get down to Rome. Okay, pagan Rome. It says, "And this I saw in the night vision, and beheld a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns." So this is speaking of what? An ancient pagan Roman Empire, man. Okay, ruled by Esau Edom, you know, from the time of Julius Caesar, okay, until the mission of the Flavian dynasty. Okay, verse 8, "I considered the horns and beheld there came up among them another little horn, which is America, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and beheld in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things." Okay, and those 3 horns that was plucked up by the roots was the Spanish, the French, and the British. Okay, and America would be the dominant horn or superpower of this beast system. Okay, the Roman Empire reloaded. Okay, with America, you know, being Rome itself, man. Okay, and this is where we at. And just as they fell, all right, America is going through the symptoms, okay, of a fallen empire. America is going through all the symptoms of a fallen empire. Debauchery, okay, no morality, okay, destruction of family, okay, destruction of agriculture and self-sufficiency. You see, the devaluing of money, okay, and too many foreign conflicts and tumults abroad, all these different wars, and you know, you see, and these are all the symptoms of a fallen empire. All right, and as these, you know, different geopolitical analysts and economic economists go into, but one thing they don't understand is the perspective from the Bible. This is nothing but the will of the Lord playing out. Psalm 74:5, it says, "I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked lift not up the horn. Lift not up the horn on high, speaking not with a stiff neck." And this is what we're seeing Esau Edom doing. You know, he's lifted up with pride. And in his mind, he's going to extend, all right, his kingdom with his power, okay, which that power was given to him from on high. But in his mind, it came from within him. Okay, So we seen this man deal very foolishly at the end of his empire, man. Okay, it says, for promotion coming neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is a judge. He put him down one and set up another. Okay, so we're seeing a kingdom being put down. All right, and as we're being built up, as scripture speak about that he will raise up the tabernacle of David. Okay, it will begin with this word. Okay, and then when Yahweh Shah comes, we're going to be changed. Okay, raised up in those chariots, man, and come down and be established as a kingdom forever in righteousness, man. So we're seeing one kingdom being put down, which is Esau, Edom. Esau being the end of the age, and Jacob being the beginning of a new age that will follow. Okay, so we're seeing the Lord dismantle this man's empire. All right, and Esau is the seed as if he's finna extend his empire, man. Okay, but he's being put down. All right, so we're seeing, America, which spun out of the British Empire, was a colony of the British, and became a superpower, and now that superpower has reached its peak. As he goes into America's golden years, from the 1900s, early 1900s until this millennium. Okay, America has experienced a strong century of prosperity, man. Okay, but as Eliyahu Wamba says, man, when the prophets began to get on YouTube in 2007, okay, beginning with the apostles and elders, and then you had that boom, of the brothers whom are elders and heads of camps now, that will come on the scene and prophesy this word. We've seen this place decline tremendously, man. Okay, in 2025, it's in hyperdrive. Okay, so let's go back to this. Just want to bring that out.
It was a good ride for the United States in the sense that across the rise of the empire, almost all boats were lifted. White Americans, at least, enjoyed rising incomes, rising job opportunities, better housing, public schools in the middle, and so on. The 20th century was a remarkable good time for the United States because we lived in a rising empire. By the time of the 21st century, now, the last 20 years, what we should have known was coming arrived. Every empire that went up went down eventually. Every one, no exceptions. The betting person would have understood in 1940 or 60 or 80 that it wasn't a question of whether the empire and the economy would decline, but when. And when just came about 15 years ago, the way I count it, but give or take, it's never something that happens at a moment. And here are some of the signs, if you like. You might have missed one or the other, but when you add up all of those I'm about to give you, it's unmistakable. The war in Vietnam was a war between the United States and the Communist Party, initially of North Vietnam. The Communist Party of North Vietnam won the war, and the United States lost the war. That's the reality. The government of unified Vietnam, North and South.
I'm going to try to jump ahead, but the point he was making, that it was inevitable, and Trump, making these claims as if he can stop, the fall of America, and Richard Wolff was like, that's insane. Like there's nothing that one man can do that can stop the inevitable, all right, which is the fall of America. And they're just looking at it from, the practical aspect of,
Did you know that the average cleaning business owner makes 120?
They're just looking at the practical aspects of it from the X's and O's based on, economy okay, cultural issues, okay, war, all right. But we look at these things in the spirit and through prophecy, man. Okay. So as a matter of fact, if a brother could post it, Jeremiah 49 and 13, if a brother can post it. But I want to fast forward to the second part. He's going to go into speaking on tariffs, and we're going to segue to another video as well. Let me see.
Of time, one example. The United States decided that it could not dare fight a war with Russia in the Ukraine using nuclear weapons, because then we all die, and the game, the absurd game, is over. So what could they do? Conventional weapons. It became quite clear really early on that that wasn't going to work either. The Russians have a lot of them, and some of those that the Russians have are better than what the West has. Painful to learn, another sign of decline. So what did they do? They decided to hit Russia with sanctions. We wouldn't buy their oil and gas, upon which the Russian economy is quite dependent. The Europeans were lined up. We will not allow your gas and oil to come. As if to make it crystal clear, somebody blew up the Nord Stream pipeline there, so it literally could not come because the pipeline was destroyed. Well, what happened? Miscalculation. What kind of miscalculation? Turns out the Russians could sell their oil and gas somewhere else. If the Europeans didn't buy it, they would sell it to India and China, which absorbed it all. No problem. The West hadn't figured it out. The West hadn't planned. The West hadn't seen that possibility. So with all the sanctions, the war got lost anyway. Mr. Biden said, we'll bring Russia to its knees. It didn't happen. The Russian ruble will collapse. It didn't happen. The biggest economic fallout from this war against Russia was the European economy, which is in very deep decline as we speak. It meant that the calculators in Washington, who thought that the sanctions war would solve the problem, didn't understand the decline of the American economy. Mr. Trump cannot reverse any of this. The idea that he should have such power is a kind of megalomania, which even he doesn't quite rise to, although I may be wrong about that. He can't.
Everything that the West, beginning with America, is doing is working against them. You see, America is like that old washed up player, okay? That old washed up Jake, that comes to the gym and still think he can jump like he used to, still think he's as fast as he used to, still think his stamina is good, okay? And he thinks that he has the edge over all the other players. He used to be able to jump higher, run faster, in shape, stronger than everyone, okay? And that's America, all right? Only come find out, you come, that old Jake comes to the gym and get his ass wore out. Okay, they crossing that nigga, they scripting him, dunking on that nigga because it's a whole different breed out here, man. All right, and them sanctions and them terrorists don't have the effect that they used to have on these nations, because these nations have began to deal in a whole nother manner to where they're not dependent on the dollar like they once were. Okay. So Trump, he comes in as if he's going to tariff his way back to greatness. Nah, man. Okay, which he's doing nothing but dismantling America from the inside, because ultimately these tariffs are going to have the opposite effect that people think they are. And people don't know how tariffs work. All right, but they're cheering them on, not understanding that a tariff is a tax on American corporations, will ultimately going to be a tax on, all right, the American people. Okay, it can trickle down and have a major effect on the American people, and we'll see. Okay, so if a brother could put Jeremiah 49 and 7 as well, Bible shot. Okay, so I'm gonna let this play some more.
The best he can do would be to be honest with the American people, honest in a way that Mr. Biden never was, that none of the predecessors were in this century. To go to the American people and say, look, we're on the downside of being an empire, and that's not fun. But let's think about how we can do best as a society, as a community, managing this, and that'll be better off than if we allow what's going on now to continue. And what's going on now is also typical empire decline. When it happens, the rich and the powerful are in a position to hold on to what they've accumulated. It's the rest of us, the middle and the lower classes, upon whom the costs of decline are offloaded. And that's what's happening in America.
So America is declining, okay, and the citizens are going to pay for it. All right, the super rich are, doing money grabs. A lot of these things that we see, there's a lot of money grabs, okay, securing up assets for the super rich, and they're offloading the tab of the of the American decline, okay, on the citizens, man. Okay, which are going to holler out for a new way, and they're going to present the C-hip. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's get this real quick because ain't no way to manage this decline. This is how the Bible is going to manage the decline of America. This the brother Bayon Yashala, Jeremiah 49:13. For I have sworn by myself, said the Lord Yahweh Bashem Al Shah, that Basra shall be a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Okay, this is how the Lord is going to manage the decline of America, man. It's going to turn to a desert, perpetual waste. All right, and the Lord sworn by himself. Okay, so this is just the beginning of sorrows. Okay, we're seeing things put in place. All right, that's going to bring the American citizens to their knees. Okay, and the devil is going to mandate that C-Hill. He's going to present it first as an upgrade, and then it's going to be a mandate. Okay, then it's going to go into a war as these nations fight. Okay, over power in this new world order, man. Okay, because you best believe they're divided on every level, man. From the elites, to these politicians, to these corporations. There's major division. Okay, so let's go here. Let's see. Yep, let's go to this one. All right, so this is another one going into, what Trump is doing is being broken down for what it really is. Okay, Trump, he's blowing a lot of smoke. He's talking in a way as if he's just die hard, for the American, working class and middle class, and and he puts on this persona as if he's against, the globalists, and people are eating it up, man, because they're desperate. Okay, people are extremely desperate for some type of relief. All right, and Trump making it sound good. Okay, and Trump done won. All right, so let's play this. Well, Trump done won.
As he was coming into office, he said within 24 hours there would be a settlement on Ukraine. Of course, that has long passed now. We've seen Donald Trump actually adopt what seems to be a belligerent posture around Ukraine and toward Russia. And what he is saying is he's giving Vladimir Putin, giving Russia an ultimatum. And I wanted to actually play what he was saying when he was signing his executive orders.
Plan to speak with President Putin soon. What about Zelensky, and what's your message?
Yeah, I would, but he's told me he wants to make a deal. I mean, he wants to make, Zelensky wants to make a deal. I don't know if Putin does, he might not, I don't know. He should make a deal. I think he's destroying Russia by not making a deal. I think Russia's gonna be in big trouble. You take a look at their economy, you take a look at the inflation in Russia. So I would hope, I got along with him great, and I would hope he wants to make a deal.
Mr. President, are you keeping U.S. sanctions on Russia until he makes a deal?
Well, sanctions or tariffs. I think the word tariff is much better because it keeps your dollar stronger. I think tariffs are more effective. I mean, I use sanctions on Iran. Iran was broke.
So did you know that some of the biggest market gains don't happen during the day, but actually overnight?
The important thing here, Ben, is, and this is a position
you see that boy signing them orders. You can hear, you know, a nigga sign them executive order loud as hell, man. You know, you can hear the pen, you know, and this all this nigga is doing. He's probably doing that now, man. The nigga been in the office. You know, we got in on the 20th. You know, this nigga been in there 9 days, man, signing shit. You know, and this lets you know where the elites at with it, man. They're putting everything in place to dismantle, all right, this society, all right, to engineer, okay, the chaos, all right, and present the solution, okay, with this digital system, man. Okay, it's good.
he's repeated is that he will sanction Russia, he will tariff Russia if Russia doesn't come to the table. Your thoughts on this? I mean, Russia is a preeminent BRICS member, leader, one of the major leaders of BRICS. And Donald Trump is now adopting a position, it seems, of an ultimatum rather than a genuine and serious attempt at negotiations. Your thoughts?
Well, Trump is very, very arrogant. I mean, that's always been clear, but especially in his second term now, we keep, if you listen to the comments he's made signing these executive orders, and he's just signing so many that all he does is sit and sign executive orders because all this stuff was written by think tanks in Washington, funded by billionaires. But Trump keeps saying things like, "Oh, they'll give in. China will give in." He said that recently. He said they're a paper tiger, essentially. That the U.S. is the most powerful country. He really overstates the power of the U.S. and he really thinks, as he claimed in his inauguration speech, that the U.S. is no longer in decline, when everyone around the world can see clearly that the U.S. is in very significant decline. And you mentioned BRICS. I mean,
so let's go here, and because what he just said is why I want the brothers to get that precept. He says these executive orders and these policies. See, Trump is not sitting around in the office and thinking of all these ideas of what he wants to do. He has think tanks, okay? Men that are these Edomite men, these councils of Edomite men, that all they do, they get paid to think and come up with policy, okay? What we call the RAND Corporation, okay? It's one of those think tanks, but there's, multiple think tanks that the elites, all right, utilize to push their agenda. And those think tanks come up with crafty ways to push their agendas on the public. Okay? So it's not Trump that's coming up with these policies. They're think tanks. All right? Now, you go into the scriptures, Jeremiah 49:7, it says, concerning Edom, thus said the Lord of hosts, is from the brother Bayan Yashala, is wisdom no more in Teman, is counsel perish from the prudent, is their wisdom vanished? Because for the longest these devils have been able to come up with these policies and it's been working. Okay, they've been prosperous in their wickedness, in their secret counsels. And Teman, represents the wise men of Edom. Okay, the thinkers. All right. So going into these secret societies and these think tanks that come up with public policy, foreign policy, economical, economic policies, war policies, and these devils have been able to be ahead of the game. Okay, but now we're seeing these think tanks, the things that they're coming up with is working against them. Okay, because first, like I said, you have the division amongst these Edomites from the elites, to these major corporations, to the politicians. There's division. Okay, and now we're seeing, all right, that this man is not as wise as he thought he was, man. Okay, and America is under a major delusion of them just being this dominant superpower militarily and financially. Okay, of course they still, they still got they pack a punch. Okay, but it's nothing like, the dominance is nothing like it once was, militarily or economically, man. Okay, and we're gonna go into another video and explain why. Now, this is Jeremiah. No, I wanted to get 14. So 16. All right, then Jeremiah 49:16. It says, "Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart." Okay, because Esau, all right, the American, all right, government, all right, the American corporation through his military, all right, and his finances, economics, okay, has been able to dominate these nations, man. Okay, they've been able to weaponize the dollar to where a sanction will cripple, okay, pretty much destroy a nation's economy. All right, but now these nations have what you call workarounds, okay, to where they don't have to be as dependent on the dollar. Now, the dollar is always going to be the reserve currency in this system. Okay, no matter how weak the purchasing power is on the dollar, it'll always be the reserve currency in this system. Okay, and that's why these other nations are so, ready to go to another system. Well, the American dollar doesn't have, all right, that leverage on these nations, to put sanctions and tariffs, all right, and all these different things. Okay, so let's go back to it. Get the definition since I said it. All right, and it says, "O thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rock, that hidest the height of the hill, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest, all right, as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, said the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai." So we're witnessing the Lord, all right, bringing the devil down. Okay, and it's going to begin with this devil trying to extend his empire, but also he's going to destroy, all right, and deconstruct his own empire, man. Okay, and you go into that word workaround, all right, which is a phrase. It says a work. It says verb of work. It says find a way to overcome or avoid a difficulty or problem. And for the longest, these nations have had to deal with America just sanctioning the hell out of them, freezing their money and their assets in American banks, because America was a go-between through, global markets. Okay, and these nations have had to deal, okay, with American tyranny, okay, through the weaponization of the dollar. Okay, so now we're seeing that these nations have began to pretty much establish, because BRICS is like a global barter system that operates outside of the dollar, man. Okay, which gives America, all right, it takes away the leverage that America has of weaponizing the dollar against these other nations. Okay, so I want to fast forward in this video, probably to about here. All right, and he's going to go into the concept of these sanctions and tariffs. All right.
Most of the wars that the U.S. wages are actually economic wars. 1/3 of all countries on earth are facing some form of U.S. sanctions, including 60% of low-income countries, of poor countries. And this has been completely bipartisan. Go back to the Bush administration in particular.
So most of the wars that America has been raging have been economical, man. And they say America has sanctions on 1/3 of the earth. That's because it's able to do that because it's the American reserve currency, man. All right. And what we're seeing, these nations begin to find workarounds, and the BRICS is a workaround. It's not the replacement. The BRICS system is not the replacement of the American dollar. It's a workaround the American dollar where America doesn't have the leverage, that it once had. Okay.
In particular, but really worldwide. But tariffs good. So talk about tariffs. I've heard that they could potentially backfire on those doing the tariffing.
Yeah, they definitely could backfire. A quick note on sanctions first. Sanctions are, of course, bipartisan. It's become the kind of main form of war waged by the U.S. because most of the wars that the U.S. wages are actually economic wars. 1/3 of all countries on earth are facing some form of U.S. sanctions, including 60% of low-income countries, of poor countries. And this has been completely bipartisan. Go back to the Bush administration in particular and the so-called war on terror. There was a massive explosion in the use of sanctions. And then every president since has only increased the number. And you can look at a chart of the number of sanctions, and it just keeps going up. It's a straight line, or it's not a straight line. It's a line that goes up, right? But consistently. So when Trump was president, he also massively expanded the use of sanctions, especially on countries like Venezuela and Cuba and Iran. So, by the way, when Trump tore up the Iran nuclear deal, the JCPOA, what was the Iran nuclear deal? It was an agreement to lift the illegal unilateral sanctions that the U.S. had put on Iran in return for Iran agreeing to halt its nuclear program. So what did Trump do? He ended the deal unilaterally, which violated international law because the deal was written into international law through a UN Security Council resolution. But the point is that Trump ended the deal and he put tons of sanctions on Iran. What did he do to Venezuela? He put tons of sanctions on Venezuela, an economic blockade in Venezuela. He put hundreds more sanctions on Cuba as well, another country that's one of the most sanctioned countries on earth. So this is bipartisan. Of course, Biden also massively, again, look at the chart. It just keeps going up. Biden came in and he massively increased the number of sanctions on Russia, right? So now Trump says, okay, instead of sanctions, I'm going to do tariffs, partially because so many of these countries are so heavily sanctioned, they can't even put on more sanctions. I mean, what can they sanction even more in Russia? Everything's sanctioned. What can they sanction more in Iran? Everything's sanctioned. Venezuela, everything's sanctioned. So now he's saying tariffs. Okay, how do tariffs work? Trump.
The man of sanctioned, Russia, Iran, Venezuela. Okay, they sanctioned them so much there's nothing more to sanction. Okay, showing you that this devil is doing everything he can to slow down prophecy, but he can't. America can do nothing about it sliding out of power. Okay, he cannot reverse its decline on the global stage. Okay, when you go back here, going back to it, reading it again. Matter of fact, let me get it so I can get in the blue letter. Jeremiah 40. This man just sanctioned the hell out of everybody, man. And see, these nations just have adapted and just started moving with workarounds, man. They work around those sanctions. They work around using the dollar. Okay, they work around the tariffs. Like they got ways of thriving under all these sanctions and tariffs because you can't stop prophecy, man. Okay, so America got to the point to where these sanctions, all right, and these tariffs are having not a major effect because these sanctions are used to life. I mean, these nations are used to life under sanctions, man. Okay, and they've adapted. Okay, now when you go here, so we can get in the blue letter, when it says thy terribleness, Jeremiah 49:16, thy terribleness, matter of fact, 15. This is what I want. Jeremiah 49:15, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. All right, because you look at how America rules as the superpower. America is the biggest hoe ass nigga ever, man. the way that they do deals, the treachery, the griminess, the cutthroat, like the way nations try to be fair with America, even though they know America, they got out on them, they still try to, deal with America, man. America get out again. Like America is real some whole ass niggas how they rule the earth, man. And these nations can't wait to get active with America, man, militarily. But right now they just getting their ducks in a row economically, man. Because when they really detach from this place, all right, and go to war, okay, they want to have, trade systems set up to where they still can function, okay? Now, you go into a word in the Hebrew, it's on Kortan for small, and it says young, small, insignificant, unimportant. And America is becoming insignificant and unimportant on the global stage, all right? Because why? These nations have workarounds, okay? And like I say, they sanction these nations so much, like I said, there's nothing left to sanction, goddamn. And so, going back here, let's go back to the video. I just wanted to bring that out. Yeah, here we go.
Wants people to believe even more in Russia. Everything's sanctioned. What can they sanction more in Iran? Everything's sanctioned. Venezuela, everything's sanctioned. So now he's saying tariffs. Okay, how do tariffs work? Trump wants people to believe that other countries pay for tariffs. That's not true. Tariffs are paid by importers in the United States. It is a tax on imports. That tax is borne by consumers in the United States in the form of higher costs of imported goods. And given that the U.S. deindustrialized its economy and produces almost nothing locally, that means that everything will become more expensive. Everything that's imported, which is most things, right? Now, defenders of Trump's tariffs will argue that there were other mechanisms by which other countries bore some of the cost, not all of the cost, but some of the costs of tariffs. So as an example, it's not wrong that when Trump put tariffs on China during his trade war during his first term, that the Chinese currency, the renminbi, also known as the yuan, did fall against the dollar. And as the renminbi fell against the dollar, it decreased the cost of Chinese exports, making them more competitive. Therefore, they were cheaper. So even though there were tariffs on them in the U.S., the cost increase was not that high domestically in the U.S. because of the depreciation of the renminbi. That's actually true. Now, it doesn't account for 100% of the cost of the tariffs. So there are many different products, for instance, washing machines, that there are studies that showed that washing machines became more expensive in the US because of the Trump tariffs. But at the same time, this is ironic because Trump accuses China of supposedly manipulating its currency, of intentionally devaluing the yuan against the dollar to make Chinese exports more competitive. Well, he's complaining about that, which China says it doesn't do. And yet now he's putting more tariffs on China, which is going to lead to a further depreciation of the yuan against the dollar and increase the competitiveness of Chinese exports when China has $1 trillion surplus. So again, I mean, everything that Trump's doing is just completely contradictory. He says we want to decrease the surplus that China has, its trade surplus, and we want it to appreciate its currency, but he's putting tariffs on that's leading to a further depreciation of the currency and likely an increase in China's trade surplus. He thinks tariffs are this panacea that can solve everything. And he and some billionaire friends like Mark Andreessen, who's a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley, they claim that they can replace the income tax with tariffs, which is just mathematically completely false, totally bogus. Of course, they say that because they want to end taxes on the rich. And they say, oh, we'll replace it with tariffs, which is not true. The deficit will continue to massively explode. So, I mean, tariffs are not some magical panacea. Tariffs as a tool can work. I'm actually not against tariffs in certain circumstances. I'm not a free trader at all. You and I are not free traders. It's the neoliberals who are free traders. However, just putting up tariffs on everything is not a magical solution to making your economy stronger. Tariffs work in particular industries when you are trying to develop your local manufacturing capabilities, and you can create a competitive industry. And then after it becomes competitive internationally, you can lift the tariffs. So it's no longer artificially protected by this lack of competition internationally. This is what every advanced, wealthy country did. This is what the United States did. Ironically, it was Alexander Hamilton, the first Secretary of the Treasury of the US, who was known for promoting protectionism.
So yeah, just to explain, all right, the tariffs and how they can hurt and how they can help. So going back to the tariffs, is if Trump puts 25 tariffs on foreign, all right, producers, it depends on what he put tariffs on, all right, and it depends on what America manufactures in America. Okay, now two things that America manufactures, all right, heavily is steel, and they still have an automotive industry, you know, Dodge, you know, Ford, Chevy. Okay, so if he puts tariffs on vehicles coming from, you know, Europe, okay, and you know, China, Japan, okay, well, let's say you're a car salesman, a major car salesman, and you import cars into America. Well, guess what? Now that car salesman has to pay a tariff to import those cars. So now, okay, it doesn't profit him to buy those cars, okay, to get those cars imported, because the money that he's going to spend on tariffs is going to destroy his profits. So what does that make him have to do? Try to sell more cars domestically where he doesn't have to pay those tariffs. Okay. And you can see sales increase in Chevy, Ford, Dodge. Okay. But what happens is that's a product that America manufactures. You see? But then if you put tariffs on a product that America doesn't produce, okay, then that product is going to be more that product is going to have to be sold at a higher price because America can't produce it. You can't replace the coffee, okay? You can't replace, all right, the let me see, because you go into what America gets imported, these different cell phones, clothes, and different things that are, you know, imported here. You can't replace that. So if America doesn't make it, all right, then these corporations that import these goods that America doesn't manufacture, well, those goods are going to go up. You know, like when I was in the steel business and they put that tariffs on foreign steel. Well, if you're a contractor, all right, and you're used to getting your steel from Turkey, okay, at half of what you will have to pay in America. Well, when Trump put them tariffs on foreign steel, now the steel you used to get from Turkey, since you got to pay, since the American corporation has to pay, all right, the American contractor now has to pay a tariff, a tax on the imported steel. It's cheaper for him to just get steel locally. And that's when, you know, for 3 years, you know, we broke, you know, the steel business broke, you know, all-time records because it was cheaper for people to buy American steel than to buy foreign steel because America manufactures steel. But if it's a product that has tariffs on it that America doesn't manufacture, then now those goods have to be sold at a higher price because somebody has to absorb those tariffs, man. The company not going to absorb all those tariffs. Okay. And I looked it up right before. All right. And I hope that made sense. You know, trying to keep it simple. Okay. But I looked it up. What does America manufacture? You know, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. All right. So you look at it. It says the United States largest manufacturing subsectors are chemical manufacturing is the number one. Chemicals, dyes, sulfur acid, okay, fertilizers, all right, pharmaceuticals, death, okay. the America's number one manufacturer is death, man. Okay, chemical manufacturing. Then you have what? Food, beverage, and tobacco products. Which what do they put in the food, beverage, and tobacco product? Chemicals. You see, then you got computer and electronic products is the number three. Okay, but the number two are chemicals and food. I said, God damn. You know, so these are the only two things that they really manufacture. Everything else is imported. Majority of everything else is imported. All right. And those domestic vehicles outside the American truck, you know, Ford and Chevy, are trash, man. Okay. That's why most people get those foreign cars. Okay. So, you know, it's going to get interesting, man. You know, when he starts to implement these tariffs, okay, and things are set in place, it's going to be interesting, man. You know, but I looked it up right before I did the lesson. I said, God damn. I was surprised, then I wasn't surprised, you know. So, so we're finna see, all right, this man, okay, fall. You know, if a brother could put that Jeremiah, all right, 5 and not Jeremiah, Job 5 and 13. Job chapter 5, verse 12 and 13. Okay. Because at the end of the day, we know this devil, you know, his mind is made that he's going to achieve, all right, his enterprise, which he's going to fail. This Sirach 14 and 5, and it says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. All right. And this devil is evil to himself. You know, he chemtrails the earth that he lives on. He poisons a water supply that he, you know, has to rely on. Okay. He destroys his own people. Okay. And in an attempt to maintain power. Okay. They always go to war over their empire. You know, that's why he can never take pleasure in his good, because he's so greedy and so cutthroat and conniving. He can never just rule and just chill. You know, he always, you know, cutthroat and conniving, man. All right. And what we're going to see, okay, this man's, okay, enterprise, all right, fail. Okay. And even in his attempt to engineer chaos and bring order, okay, he's going to be taken in his own craftiness, man. All right, which I'll get it real quick. We'll end it there. This is the book of Job, chapter 5 and 12. It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Okay, so this man is going to be disappointed in everything that he's doing. All right, and we're just watching his tacky ass along the way, because it's getting tacky as hell. Okay, but they can be so tacky because Americans are so goddamn stupid, man. Okay, the American public is so goddamn stupid that they don't have to put much thought into trying to pull this off, man. Okay, it says he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the fraud is carried headlong, man. So yeah, man, we're at the point to where we're finna see this man be overthrown as he attempts to establish this NWO. Okay, and you people out here rooting and chanting and praying and crying for some damn Donald Trump, finna be highly disappointed, you know. So there was the point, you know, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again, and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful, like Shalom.